What's going on, everybody? It's your boy Zoe No Days Off DFS here to bring you that WNBA slate breakdown for the one game WNBA slate we got today. It's a one gamer. Of course, again, this is life of the WNBA. If you guys new here, make sure you guys hit that subscribe button so you don't miss any of the content I'm putting out. Drop a like on this video if this video or any of my other videos help you guys win some money. And let's go ahead. Let's try to get into this. Yesterday was not a good day for me. All day up until lock, I had Tara McCowan. Was very high on Tara McCowan. I was like, this bounce back spot. Was talking to BK about it. We've seen it time and time again. She goes out, she has a bad game. The next game, she literally goes off. She's actually played this matchup very well going up against Atlanta. And of course, what happens? They decide they want to play games. Kalani Brown, oh, you're going to start. Kalani picks up 2 fouls, not even 2 minutes. Out, right? Of course, who decided to swap off of Tara McCowan and go with Kalani Brown? Me. It was after that, of course, watching the first game, I was like, I'm dead when it comes down into the second game. I'm dead. I'm already dead. Doesn't even matter. But hopefully you guys are able to make some money. I definitely called out that Kelsey Plum. If you went ahead and played Plum over playing Jackie Young, Plum went off. She was shooting threes out the park. Definitely let you get some good finagling in your lineup. I know the only other good piece that I had inside of my core was I was very high on Alicia Gray yesterday, and she actually had a really good game, outscored Ryan. And then, of course, the savings that you're actually able to get right there. But hopefully we can try to do it again. One game slate. I really kind of hate playing these butts since it's one game. And, of course, we're all on the Caitlin Clark experience. I am going to go ahead and play it. Two teams that kind of middle of the pack trying to figure themselves out. Of course, we got Seattle trying to gel, and Indy with Caitlin coming in here trying to figure out, how to be what she is in the league and just everything that she has, just carrying this league on her shoulders. We're going to see how that goes. Last game, she did leave for a little bit with a mild ankle tweak, but she came right back. So I'm guessing that there's nothing going on with that. Only injury news we got to worry about for the Fever is that Dantas will still be out. For Seattle, the big news that is up in the air is whether or not if Nneka will play today. Need to know if Nneka's going to play. If Nneka's out, we will have Ezzy move to the 4, and we'll see Russell be slid back into that starting lineup. Either way, both of these teams, their defense is kind of mid, so there should be plenty of buckets scored in this game. I truly do expect this should be a good game for Caitlin Clark. I think that she could at least go out here and get us about close to 18, 20 points, knock down some threes, and definitely her playmaking chop should be able to show, as we have seen opposing point guards have actually had pretty decent games going up against Seattle so far. And then also the bigs in this matchup, I do think there will be some, the matchup favors more towards the bigs of Seattle than it does Indy, due to the fact of the block upside that should be there for Ezzy going up against Melissa and Aaliyah Boston down there. Those things should be there for them. Just depending on who actually plays out here today for Seattle. But heading over to DraftKings, the site that I play the most on the site. If you guys don't got an account, you want one, check the link down in the description below so you can get that deposit match bonus and join me over here on the King. Also, if you're looking for my player pool, BK's player pool, our core plays, prop plays, all of that stuff, betting plays, all that stuff is posted on the Patreon. The link for that is down in the description below. You guys got a couple more days so you can get the savings, the value that you can actually get from the $5 promotion that BK has been doing for the month of May. $5 for literally whenever you start it. Your first time is going to be $5. Then after that is 10. Definitely, there's a lot of value that you guys get joining us over here. Pretty cheap Discord and Patreon for all the content that we actually pump out over here. So definitely check that out down the link in the description below. All right, so heading over here, looking over on DraftKings, we'll start with the Indy side. Like I already said, off the rip, I do like Clark here in today's matchup. I do believe that this should be a spot she will be able to actually prosper, actually be able to go out here and give us a decent fantasy point production for herself. Kind of like what we saw in that bounce back game when she played going up against New York Liberty, where she dropped 41 fantasy points. And then, of course, in that second game going up against Connecticut, she still had a pretty decent game, even though she left with that ankle tweak. 3 of 7 from 3, 5 of 11. A little bit of playmaking, a couple of blocks, things like that. A little small foul trouble, but still, I really do believe this would be a decent spot for her. As we're seeing, Sabrina went out there. She dropped 33 fantasy points going up against these guys. Atkins, she went out here. She dropped 28 fantasy points. Courtney Williams, in the two games that they played going up against the Lynx, she dropped 29 and 39 fantasy points. So Caitlin Clark, the upside is definitely there because she's definitely better than Courtney Williams, definitely better than Atkins and Van Loo and those companies. So this is a spot I really do have a lot of high hopes for Caitlin. Again, if she didn't tweak that ankle, I do believe that this could have been way more because, as you can see, was the least amount of minutes that she has so far played this season. Very high on Caitlin on the matchup for today, and I really, really do like the upside that she can actually bring. Now, coming down here to Aaliyah Boston. It all depends for me if Nneka plays or not. But then again, I kind of like what I'm seeing from Boston. Well, not really what I'm liking from Boston, but I like the history that I've seen from Boston. All last season, she played at least 30 minutes going up against them, dropping roughly around 30 fantasy points in all three of those games. The big thing for Boston, she just actually has to get that shot to fall. And I think definitely, we already seen what Alana Smith did going up against the Storm. We saw what Fee was able to actually go out there and do. We saw what Aaliyah Edwards actually was able to come out here and do in this exact same matchup going up against the Storm. So Aaliyah Boston, former number one pick, So I definitely do believe this is probably one of those get right spots that we can actually see for her, and I really do like that for her to actually be able to bounce back here. Now, outside of that, Melissa Smith, I'm on the fence. A part of me doesn't want to play with Nalissa just for the minute fluctuation is so up and down, but her herself too, she's actually had some pretty decent games going up against the Storm as well. Very high on the GPP radar for me in regards to if I want to mess with that, just because Fag Bentley, man, if you watch this girl go out there and play, she is balling. She's definitely asking for more minutes just from her play. Went out there, put up a double-double in 23 minutes, the primary big that comes off the bench for both Boston and for Nalissa. If Nalissa's out there and she's not really giving her all, they're going to pull her. They're going to play Fag Bentley. We're going to see her go out there. And I don't mind pivoting coming down her, but this is where the GPP mindset for me is going to kick in and how I think that the field is going to go. This is what I'm projecting. The field is going to see what Fag Bentley's been doing. We're looking for some value on today's slate. They're going to go to her. This is where I would say be overweight on Alyssa Smith instead of Fag Bentley, and just hope that Fag Bentley comes out here and maybe she plays 15 sub minutes and gets you roughly about 15 to 17 fantasy points. And yet Alyssa Smith goes out here, balls out, maybe can get us that 25 to 30 fantasy point game, and we get her at the lower ownership and possibly could be able to ship the whole 10K to yourself on this slate. That's how I would view it, and what I would kind of mess with if I was going that route. I'm not too sure yet. I think I'm only going to play one line tonight, so I might just roll out with Alyssa Smith. Might not, still undecided on that, but definitely that's something that you can keep in mind right there. Outside of that, I'm not going to mess with Erica Wheeler. Carly Samuelson, a decent value play if you do land right here. Definitely, as you know, the shot just has to actually fall for her. Only played 15 minutes in the last matchup, but that was a pretty tough matchup. Wallace, Berger, they're valuable punts that you can definitely get to, but not anything that's a must. And then the last one that I say for last is Kelsey Mitchell, because I'm kind of on a teeter-totter. I know a lot of production for Kelsey counts on her getting her shot to fall. With that being said, her history going up against Seattle all last season, beautiful. Now, that was without Clark. I'm expecting Clark to have the big game. Kelsey to go out here, maybe she can go ahead and get about the 15 to 18-ish points. But again, a lot of the production for her relies on her points. I think the upside might be a little bit better for Nalissa Smith, Boston. And of course, like I already said, Clark, Kelsey Mitchell, definitely prime candidate for a GPP option. Not something that I see as a must. I have to shove into my lines. Going over to Seattle, of course, again, the biggest thing is we got to know if Nneka is going to be in or out. She's listed as questionable. Once again, she's in danger of missing her third straight game due to the ankle injury. If she's downgraded out, then of course, with Sage Roster, she will be slid into the starting lineup. I definitely will keep track of that. Again, the game isn't until 10, so you got plenty of time. You're going to be able to go watch the Timberwolves and the Dallas Mavericks play, and then we can go ahead and enjoy this game right here. So definitely something to pay attention to. Now, outside of that, Jewel Lloyd, if there's a spot where we have seen guards be able to actually get the three-point shot to fall, actually see guards go out here and have a good game, it has been so far going up against the Fever. Jewel Lloyd has shot horribly, and I'm going to say this every single game that she is on a slate until she actually goes ahead and gets that shot to fall. But putting my eggs in a basket, I will definitely look to Jewel Lloyd and hope that she comes out here and she can actually finally bounce back and have that decent game that I know that she's actually capable of doing. All last season going up against them, she has some pretty big fantasy point games, nothing less than 30 fantasy points in any of those games, dropping 19, 26, and 32 points, real life points, and going off for 46, 41, and 31 fantasy points. So hopefully she can actually do that here in the spot. This is definitely a get right spot for her here. The shot attempts are there, just the shot isn't falling. This is probably the gold mama game where she goes out there and she drops 25 plus points, gives us about 4 threes or something like that, in a sense. If Dejanay Carrington, Sabrina Ionescu, those guys can go out here and actually have some pretty decent games, definitely, you cannot tell me that Jewel Lloyd, the gold mamba herself, cannot go out here and actually do that. With that being said, again, if Nneka is out, then Ezzy, I do have a lot of interest in her. The block and still upside would definitely be there going up against Leah Boston, Alyssa Smith. And then, of course, her scoring is going to be needed, and the rebounds will be there for her as well. So definitely don't mind Ezzy. That's going to be, of course, another spend-up option that you can get to. Skylar Diggins-Smith, if you land there, I'm not going to ape great complaint. Again, I do think this would be the Jewel Lloyd game that she actually pops off. So I will be a little less on the field than everyone else on Skylar. But again, one of these two guards will actually be able to pop in this matchup, as we've seen opposing guards have actually had really great games going up against the Fever either way. Sammy Whitcomb, Mercedes Russell, Vivian, Fancam. Well, none of these guys really interest me. Only other one would be Horston. As long as she doesn't get into foul trouble, she actually goes out here and she plays hard like what she has in these other games, which this is one of those middle of the pack defensive teams that she should be able to go out here, rack up some steals, definitely run a fast break, get those rebounds like what she was going up against the Lynx, going up against Washington. This could probably be a 20-ish fantasy point type game for Houston. I definitely do see the upside for her if you have to land there. Again, a lot of this for today lands on if Nneka is going to be out. I'm kind of leaning towards her being out. Right now, she's listed as questionable. Haven't seen any type of update for her. But if Nneka was to be in, I'm not going to mess too heavy with I don't feel like Ezzy would be a must. Nneka, you could definitely go there. Field might be low on her just because she's coming back off an injury. Might think minutes limit or some crap like that. But I still will prioritize getting Jewel Lloyd. She's the main player that I want to get from Seattle if I'm taking anything from over there. Now, when it comes down to captain plays, I definitely do. Like I've already talked about Jewel Lloyd. That's what I think is going to pop in today's game. And I don't think too many people are going to pay up for 13-5 Jewel Lloyd, who hasn't actually had really great games so far this season. So Jewel Lloyd at 13-5, I do think she will make for a really good captain spot for you. Outside of that, maybe you can come down there to Ezzy if Nneka does miss. And then if you think Skylar has the big game instead of Lloyd, you can definitely go there. I'm not going to put Clark in the captain spot. I feel like that's just going to be too obvious. Everyone's going to go to Clark. Everyone's going to want to play her. Clark will be in my line, but I don't feel like you have to have Clark in the captain spot and actually cash out. But yeah, outside of that, let's go on over to Prize Picks. Last night I got shelled, man. Lost quite a bit of my bankroll over here on Prize Picks. Tell you the truth, I do not deposit on Prize Picks at all. They give me some promo money every now and then I'll just use that, rack it up, and then cash out whatever I actually can cash out. Like I said, last night my slips, they went to hell. Last night it was pretty shitty in regards to what I was actually able to do if it actually loads. Okay, there we go. But yeah, Enrique stuck at 24 points for like the last 4 or 5 minutes of that game. Was really shit. Ariel Atkins not be able to get the shot to fall, not be able to do anything out there. Ryan stuck at 15 points for the whole fourth quarter, didn't do anything for me. Asia, she hooked that right there. Carly couldn't get another bucket to fall in the whole fourth quarter for her. Kelsey Plum, she popped off. Brinks, that's probably going to be under all right there, as long as they keep her at 20, depending on her matchups. Again, Asia Wilson, she just freaking killed me. Ryan killed me with her threes made. Enrique, it was a pretty much a muddling day for the WNBA over there for me on Prize Picks. But over here, looking at it, I'll tell you right now, I'm like I already said, I'm very high on Jewel Lloyd. I do think this is the bounce back spot where she can actually pop off and go off. I do like Lloyd and Caitlin Clark, both of them. I see them being able to reach that. As you can tell, they're very popular on today's slate. People are hammering that right there for both of them. Kelsey Mitchell, if you do have faith in Mitchell, I put her as a lean. She's not a must, but again, her history against Seattle, very good all last season. I do believe there's a route for her to actually be able to get there. I don't really like Boston's points. That's a little bit too high for me. Same thing for Skylar. She's roughly averaging right around 14, 15 points this season. So I don't see any reason to try to force either one of those. Lloyd, definitely, again, very high on her. So I will continue to ride pretty much almost all her pops. The PRA, that's there for me. I'll go ahead and I'll take that. I don't mind that at all. Same thing for Caitlin. This is going to be one of those games where I feel like she's going to be dishing. She rebounds very well for a guard, and also the scores will be there. So honestly, a power two for me will actually be Lloyd and Caitlin Clark. Either you can run points for either one of those guys. PRA, I'll say. Fantasy score, that's actually kind of low for both of them. I really do actually like the fantasy score for either one of those guys right there. I would take that for them as well. I'm going over here to assists. I do feel like this is one of those spots where Caitlin will actually be able to get at least 6 assists. I've already taken this over on FanDuel. She's averaging right now 5.5 assists legit on the season. So just 0.5 above her average on the season. So I really do like that. Skylar, I know a couple people are on it for the assists. I don't mind it, especially if we think that Lloyd's going to actually be able to pop off. I could see that. Caitlin for her threes, 3.5 threes made. This is definitely one of those that you would take as a 6 flex play, not something that you would just take in a power two or something like that, because there's route where she doesn't actually hit 4 threes, at least maybe gets 3. So I could see taking a possibility in that, but not something that you have to shove and get into your line or take. Caitlin, her PA, definitely one that I would take as well. Lloyd's points rebounds, one I would actually take for her as well. Nalissa, Boston, I'll say Nalissa just because I'm on the fence with her, but if I do believe that there's a route for her to actually be able to snag her rebounds, because I have been looking at her rebounds as a prop for a play for today over on the books, and possibly some putbacks, things like that. If she actually goes up there and plays hard enough, something I would put into a 6 flex if I was to do anything. And then Jewel Lloyd's rebounds and assists, I would take the over on that one as well as another one. So actually, you could play these two right here as a power 2. Boom. Go ahead, lock that in. Bam, power 2. I just went ahead and made. Let's go ahead, cash out right there on that one. But all right, guys, that's pretty much going to be it for me. Hopefully, you guys do cash out. Again, like I said, Jewel Lloyd for me, that's going to be the main captain spot that I'm going to be looking at for today's slate. And then, of course, as you already know, Clark, she's going to get slid right into that line. Again, if you want to get different, I feel like Nalissa Smith is probably going to be your play. You're going to want to go ahead and play instead of going to Fag Bentley, because everyone's going to go to Fag Bentley. But this could be the Nalissa Smith game where she finally pops off and has a really big game. Won't be any video for me for the rest of the week. Going out of town for some family stuff that I have to go and attend for the weekend. I won't be back until next Tuesday, so hopefully you guys cash out in the whole time. I will still post stuff up on the Patreon as much as I can, and I will be in the Discord if you guys have any questions for me. Yeah, good luck to you guys.